Hi, how are you? I'd like to share some Divrei Torah with you that you could share over at your Seder or all throughout Pesach. The first idea comes from Halach Ma'anya. And the question is, we're already at the Seder. We're sitting there, we've already done Kadesh, Orchas, Karpas, and Yachatz. And now we're up to Magid. We get up to Magid and we declare all together that whoever is hungry, come and eat. It seems like an empty request. It seems like we're patting ourselves in the back. Nobody's coming. Either they're there already or they're not. Why are we inviting people to the Seder in the middle of the Seder? It would be best if this request or this declaration was made a week earlier. Rabbi Lord Jonathan Sachs, in his Agada, writes the following. He quotes Primo Levi, a well-known philosopher, author, and survivor of the Holocaust, in his book of This Is a Man. Primo Levi writes that in 1945, many of the Nazis just left. They brought them on death marches and then left. And he writes that the only people that were left in the camp were the people that were too ill to move. So for 10 days, they were left alone. Primo Levi was one of them, with scraps of food and some fuel. Levi describes how he worked to light a fire and bring some warmth to his fellow prisoners. Many of them were dying. And he writes that him and two other fellows broke into some barrack, some room that had a broken oven, and they worked tirelessly throughout an entire day to fix the oven in order to get heat for all of those that were ill. As the day was over and people were able to come into this room to sit near the fire, near this oven, one of the fellow prisoners, a Franco-Pole named Tawarowski, proposed that each of those people offer the three individuals that helped get this oven working some bread. And it was agreed, and people shared their bread. Primo Levi writes, only a day before, this would have been inconceivable. The law was, up until then, eat your own bread, and if you can, eat your neighbor's bread as well. At that point, things changed. It was the first human gesture that occurred amongst everyone. He thinks that that's the moment where people change from becoming prisoners to becoming men again. Rabbi Sachs then writes in the last paragraph that what's happening here, the beginning of our Seder, when we are symbolizing, we are becoming free people. We're changing from slaves to becoming free people. We're offering to share our food. That is an act that only free people can do. Sharing food, and I quote from the last paragraph, is the first act through which slaves can become free human beings. One who fears tomorrow does not offer his bread to others, but one who is willing to divide his food with a stranger has already shown himself capable of fellowship and faith, the two things from which hope is born. This is the key to the Seder. It might be, it's not meant, Rabbi Sachs writes, to be taken literally, but it's to remind us, if we want to continue to remain free people, then we must use all of God's blessings that Hashem has given us and continue to share those blessings with other people. And that's how we begin our Seder. It's a mark of a Ben Chorin to share with others. On the same question as to why we begin the Seder with Halach Ma'anya, inviting other people to the Seder, it seems empty. Another answer is given in the Haggadah called Matok Me'or from Rav Levenstein. He writes that what happens is sometimes at the Seder is that you have your family there at the Seder, and then you have a lot of other guests at the Seder who may be very nervous, may be concerned, may be worried, anxious. It's everything so clean, so pristine. Maybe I don't want to say something out of turn. And it's to remind the person that's running the Seder or the family that's hosting the Seder, you know what? You are not my guest tonight. You're part of our family. And once you make everyone feel comfortable, everyone can share Torah together, everyone can have a nice, great experience all together. The second section I'd like to focus on is Manishtana, but this really can be said at any point during the Seder. It comes from the Haggadah of Rav Aaron Markowitz, Rav Ari Markowitz, a new Haggadah that came out this past year, called From Despair to Destiny. He addresses the following question. Now, it seems very strange. The night of the Seder is very unique in many different ways. One of the ways it's unique is that if you look at every other holiday, the mitzvos of the holiday are performed during the day. Shaking the lulav during the day. Shofar during the day. Hallel is only said during the day. Purim, the main mitzvos, reading the Megillah, the main mitzvah of reading the Megillah is during the day. Mishloach manot, the Seuda, Matanos Lavyonim, all performed during the day. Except when you get to the holiday of Pesach, all the mitzvos, the Sipur, the Seder, Matzah, Maror, Afikot, everything is performed at night. Why is that? And he quotes the Vilna Gaon. The Vilna Gaon picks up on an anomaly in the grammar of Manishtana. It says Manishtana halayla hazeh mikol haleilot. Is why is it halayla hazeh in masculine and not halayla hazot in feminine? And then he says additionally, the pasuk of the source for Leil Seder is Vigadat levincha bayom. You shall speak to your son or your child in the day. Why is it during the day? The Seder is only done at night. Korban Pesach was only done in the evening, at night. So he writes, the Vilna Gaon writes something very fascinating. He writes that the Leil Seder, it might be dark outside, physically dark outside, but it's in the realm of daytime. It's Bechinas Yom. And what does that mean? I think what it means is that we say in Mizmor Shir Liyom HaShabbos, Lahagi baboker chastecha ve'emunascha baleilos. We tell God's kindness during the day when it's light outside, and we have faith in God at night when we can't visibly see Hashem. Why? Because during the day, everything's very clear. At night, it's not. It's murky. So Leil HaSeder, it might be dark outside, but our goal of the Seder is to see God's hand very clearly. To see God's hand throughout history in a very clear manner. The Seder is used, or Leil Seder, the Exodus of Egypt, is used as a paradigm where God's hand was so clear, so obvious that Hashem was involved with the Makos, with Kriyas Yamsuf, with the Ananei HaKavod, with our experience in the desert, in the Midbar. It was so obvious, it was like daytime. That's why all of the mitzvos of the Seder are done at night, because really it's like day. We're going to say it at the end of the Seder, Vayhi b'chatzi halayla, in that paragraph where people usually run through, because it's the end of the Seder, we say Laila kiyom ya'ir. The night will shine like day. And he writes, when is that? When is Laila kiyom ya'ir? That's Leil HaSeder, where we're supposed to see God's hand like the light is shining. The third thought comes from Rav Kook, from the Haggadah, The Night That Unites, an excellent Haggadah written by Rabbi Aaron Goldscheider, on Maisa b'Rabbi Eliezer. Why is it that we have this story about Rabbi Kiva, Rabbi Tarfon, Rabbi Eliezer, all Rabbi Shua, all coming to Rabbi Kiva's home in Bnei Brak to study the Seder together? Are we supposed to learn that we should stay up all night to learn the Seder? Why is this here? So I think it's a very interesting idea which can help us formalize what type of Seder we would like. He writes, why did a group of outstanding sages join together to celebrate the Seder? And he writes, I'm going to summarize this. He writes, it's to teach us that studying in a group, studying together, is extremely valuable when it comes to studying Torah. The sages warned that private Torah study, when someone is learning on their own, It's not as ideal as learning with others, and may even be detrimental. And why is that? And I quote, "An essential aspect of Torah scholars is the role they play in improving the world around them. To accomplish this, someone who studies Torah must develop an appreciation for opinions that differ with those of their own, whether in the realm of halacha, Jewish law, or in the realm of ethics. That kind of openness comes about only by means of group study. And that's essentially what Rabbi Soloveitchik wrote is the purpose of the Seder, is to study together, study passages that elicit discussions at our Sedarim. We should have arguments at the Seder in a very positive manner. We should discuss things together. We should disagree agreeably at our Seder." And he concludes, when someone secludes himself within his own close community, he is making a choice which restricts debate. But when you're open to other opinions, then you are more open to growing and learning and eventually bringing more peace and harmony to the world around you. Why do we have this story in the Haggadah? It could be this teaches us the paradigm of how our Seder should be run, valuing all the opinions of everyone there at our Seder. And the last idea I take from the Haggadah of Rabbi Ovadia Yosef Zatzal in Chazon Avadia. He writes a question that I come back to every year at my Seder. Why is it that we say Pesach, Matzah, Maror? Rabbi Gamliel says we need to say those three things in order to fulfill our obligation of the night of the Seder. It's out of order. Pesach is the Korban Pesach. That's what we did the last night before we left Egypt. Matzah is the matzah that we used when we left Egypt. Maror represents the slavery. That should really be first. Why is Maror last? So he first writes a halachic reason. He writes that Maror is last because Maror is rabbinic. Matzah is the only food that we eat all year round that is a biblical commandment to eat. That is Leil HaSeder, that's matzah, that's a mitzvah d'oraisa. Maror is rabbinic. So maybe it is last to remind us that we're not yet there. Maror is only biblical when it's eaten with the Korban Pesach and matzah all together. And it's to remind us that we're not yet there where we're eating the Korban Pesach in Jerusalem. And then he adds another idea, that he writes that, yes, we experience the Pesach and we experience the matzah. But throughout Jewish history, there are continuous Maror experiences that we continue to experience throughout history. We may have left Egypt. We have experienced amazing miracles. But then we had destruction in Yerushalayim numerous times. We had a Purim story where enemies wanted to kill us. We've had inquisitions. We've had crusades. We've had pogroms. We've had blood libels, Holocaust, Lo Aleinu. So many different atrocities, so many different times in our history where we experienced a Maror. And it's to remind us that our ultimate redemption, we may be celebrating the redemption of Mitzrayim, but the ultimate redemption is not yet there. And we're still in a state of Maror. But he says that Leil HaSeder symbolically represents our Jewish history, our Jewish destiny in totality. And at the end of the Seder, in Tzafon, we also have matzah. Matzah represents redemption. Tzafon means literally the hidden times. What's hidden? The matzah. When the ultimate geula, the ultimate redemption, will occur. And he writes, even though we're in a state of Maror right now, we are not yet all together in Yerushalayim. One day, hopefully in the close future, we will all experience the experience of matzah together. We will, Bezrat Hashem, hopefully this year, in less than 2 weeks from now, we will all eat our matzah along with our Maror and along with our Korban Pesach all together in Yerushalayim. Please feel free to share any questions or comments with me personally or communally through Facebook or through text or email. Please be in touch. Chag Kasher v'Sameach.